Okay, I'm a minute early. That's okay. We're gonna go live anyway. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
John Lavenia coming at you here live from a convention that I'm attending right now with a bunch of awesome people. Some of you here would love to have the next one. But in any event, I got something I want to share with you. I know I just went live a minute early, but that's okay. You know, the show must go on. So here I am, Mr. Reliable, doing this. I'm actually in a penthouse that is kind of like a modern industrial brick and like metal and wood and stuff. It's kind of cool. So if I look different to you, it's because I'm in a different environment and my lighting sucks. You know what? Let's see if I can crank up the gain on this camera. Is that better or worse? What do you think, Lindsay?
Yeah, it's better.
Better? Okay, good. Good. We'll roll with that. I don't have my studio lighting rig with me. Actually, I do have a little portable, I didn't bring it, but a little portable thing you clip on your laptop, and it has some LEDs that shine in your face so you can do your videos and what have you. But anyway, I wanted to talk with you a little bit today about your achievement of your goals versus your default future. If you are seeing this on YouTube, then this whole session is being brought to you by the paying members of the JL Success Mastermind. You go to jlsuccessmastermind.com, grab yourself a membership, and participate in other events which are not broadcast to the public, like Life and Business Tools, which is coming up at 4:30 p.m. Eastern US time today with our good friend and scholar, Adrian Garner. This guy knows a lot about building businesses, and we're on the legal side and contracting and stuff like that too, things that I haven't had my head into. This guy like really knows this stuff. So you guys can tune into that at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. And then of course, I'll be back with you here tomorrow for our general session on at the same time tomorrow, live from my remote location. Anyway, I wanted to talk with you. Hi, Gail. I wanted to talk with you a little bit today about your goals achieved versus your default future. This is an idea that I got from actually one of the people who I've recently gotten to meet with a few times, who oversees a lot of a sales force, like thousands and thousands of people. Okay, but he gets to observe a lot of the various levels of production of various people. Now we've talked about, and I've quoted to you several times, Albert E.N. Gray, his common denominator of success, as he delivered it to his group of Prudential sales managers back in the 1950s. If you recall, he cited the common denominator of success being that successful people have formed the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. They form the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do. And as if all that wasn't enough, he went on to say that, it's not because we like doing these things, we just do them anyway, because we've got goals that are important enough to us that we are not as interested in our preferences of, whether it's a pleasing or unpleasing method. We subordinate our preferences to the achievement of our goals. Hey, Daisy. Hey, Allie, glad you're here. So in that way, you can go ahead and form a habit of doing things which may or may not be like your favorite thing in the world to do. I'm not saying force yourself to do stuff that you suck at or hate. Okay, there are some things which you may want to delegate. You may want to, leverage the skills or aptitudes of others. But still, we've got to develop habits. I think that's the key word in that whole thing. The successful people have developed the habit of doing things that failures don't like to do, because we are interested in our goals more than we're interested in being comfortable. Okay, so that comfort zone could be a dangerous place. And with that in mind, the idea of a default future came up in a conversation that I was having with this, guy who oversees a bunch of sales teams and stuff. And he said that one of the things that you could do, John, so he's giving me a suggestion here. He's observing, the production and the groups that I work with and all this. And he said, you can remind people of their why. Okay. So let's say we've got, in fact, this is something Albert Gray talked about too. He said, if production is down, well, don't like force competition or, stuff like that. He said, just get people refocused on their purpose and production will take care of itself. So why? right? That's a good primary consideration, a good thing to focus on. And to get people focused on, let's say, and Ali, I don't know if you've got employees or subordinates in some way, but let's say their statistics are lackluster. Well, why are you here? Why are we here? What's this whole mission about? That's a good question, right? And if you can help people recommit to that, or at least remind them of that. But this has to be something, if people are going to be motivated, they've got to have that already inside them to some degree. You can't manufacture a purpose for someone else. Now, if you're running a corporation, you could say, here are the stated purposes of the corporation. You could even publish them. That's all very nice. And people can subscribe to it to whatever degree they mentally, emotionally, subscribe to that idea. Okay. And that's a good indicator, I think, of how productive people could be, is based on how closely they align with, the mission statement or the objectives of the group. But motivation has to be intrinsic. It's not something that I can put in a box and hand you. And now, thanks to you meeting me, now you're motivated. No, I'm not here to motivate you. By the way, did anybody think that I'm here to motivate you, like I'm a motivational speaker? I understand the title. It's not I don't wear it. I don't wear that name tag. Although, sometimes, people get pretty, enthusiastic with hearing these reminders, but enthusiastic about what? Enthusiastic about accomplishing the purposes which already exist in them. The whole idea of education, which this is a form of education, but the root word, I'm going to screw this up, educare, Latin, to draw out. Okay, so we're drawing out something that's already in there. Goethe said, all intelligent thoughts have already been thought. All you got to do is think them again. So go get educated, right? Because, all knowledge already is. It already exists, with or without your participation. It already exists, right? So then here's the consideration, is that if we have the idea or the postulate of, here's a goal that I could achieve. Okay, here's where the conversation usually doesn't go far enough. Or what? Default future, right? So here is the carrot, right? Here's the good stuff that you say you're motivated about, or that you've aligned yourself with. And usually that's where the conversation ends. And look, if all you did was think on, your goals and think about solutions and solving the problems and slaying the dragons or whatever, that's sufficient. That's sufficient. But, and it's a big but, motivation wanes. And without the contrast of, or what, right? Or here's my default future. If nothing changes, nothing changes. Great. So based on your current trajectory, what does your life look like 5 years from now if you don't reach these goals? There's where the conversation usually doesn't go. So let's talk about the default future. Let's talk about that. Let's make that real. We were talking about making our goals real. Well, I'll tell you what. Here's the default future. You could achieve that just as readily. You are equally able to achieve the goals or the default future of nothing changes, or you're 5 years worse off, or whatever. So now we just raised our necessity level. Now suddenly I tend to procrastinate less. Now I make decisions faster. Now I do resourceful actions more consistently, and I do what Albert Gray said was form the habits. Tomorrow, dangerous word. Dangerous word. So as I just demonstrated to you, despite the fact that, I'm here in a remote location with 20,000 of my closest friends at a major convention for a multi-billion-dollar e-commerce marketing and manufacturing company, I still showed up here. I'm not saying, oh, look at me, I'm so freaking awesome. Although I said we were going to have this general session today, and here we are. All right. So can you be that person who can give yourself a command and then follow it because you've got goals and purposes big enough that you refuse to violate your own ethics, your own resolve to be, do, and have the goal achiever lifestyle and reputation. I know, because I know you people here who are tuning in live as members, okay, I don't know who's watching on YouTube, but I guess if you're on YouTube, you can put it in the chat and be like, hey, John, I watch your stuff. Cool, thanks. Go get a membership at jailsuccessmastermind.com. But if you're here and I know you, I know that I can rely on you to be the person who I've come to know as a member. So we got members here I've known for years. And so if I gave you a job, let's say, Lindsay, I'm going to lean on Lindsay for a minute. Okay. So Lindsay's got some strengths. Okay. And like us all, we have a strong suit. We've got weaknesses as well, whatever. But I know that Lindsay is reliable. And that if I gave Lindsay something to do, or how about this, something to learn. Hey, Lindsay, here's a new system. In fact, this is real. This is real, by the way, Lindsay. We've got a new system, lead generation stuff. Oh, yeah. So go get signed up for that. Follow the instructions, figure it out, do it. And then, we got action coming our way. Okay. And I plan on you taking some of that action and making some money. Okay. So, and Lindsay may or may not know everything to do, but I told her to go learn it. So she's going to go learn it. Right. And I'm not giving her an impossible task, by the way. I already know that she can. She's intelligent enough that she can learn stuff. Right. And we're creating videos and things like that to do that. And then I know when I send her, here's leads, here's people who want to learn more about, this business thing that we're doing. Okay, well, I know that if Lindsay gets the lead, she's going to call the lead. I mean, something like that. I mean, that may sound silly to some of you. It's like, well, of course. Okay, well, then you're a reliable person too. Well, of course, but no, not friggin' of course. No, common sense isn't so common. First rule of business, assume nothing, assume nothing. Or we could say trust but verify, right? So we can have a good working relationship. In this example I just gave you, there's things that I could give her to do. Now there's other things that I would not delegate to Lindsay because it's not things that I've come to understand that she's strong at. Just like me, there's things that, please don't give me web design, please. Right? No. You want me to design the logo or something? No. I mean, if you want it to look like a heavy metal band, like every logo I've ever designed looks like a heavy metal band. Why is that? I don't know. It's something in me. It's something possessing me. Great news. There's this thing called artists, right? And they design graphics and websites and logos. Fan-friggin-tastic. Don't give me that job. That's not my job. Okay, so we develop our strengths, we manage our weaknesses. Okay. But we're not going to develop those strengths if we are not fixated to a large degree on being a goal achiever and knowing what those goals are and that we can. With the contrast, hence the necessity level, the urgency, the prod of here's what happens if you don't. Here's what happens if you don't. Now, I'm not telling you to think negatively, but if you need a prod, if you need a little thorn in your side, you need a little electric buzzer, like those zap collars that you get for dogs, right? Or they jump on the couch, right? It jumps. We don't use them, although I'm considering it. But if you need that, okay, what is your default future? You want to get ugly? Write it out. It's kind of like I've talked about picking your problems, right? You guys have heard me talk about this, pick your problems. So what problems will you have once you've achieved your goals? Higher tax bills, dealing with employees, and yeah, you get problems. You get to solve problems. Different problems than the guy who's poor, right? I mean, look, it's a lot of work to be poor. Poor sucks. In fact, it costs a lot to be poor. Anybody ever experienced the late charges on a bank account or the overdraft fees and stuff like this? So here's the poor who obviously don't have enough money, and they're getting charged fees to be more poor, or they're making the minimum payments on their credit cards and paying the interest to the richest people in the world who run the banks, giving their little bit of money to the richest people in the world every month. I heard someone once say, there's a saying that the meek shall inherit the earth. Well, they ain't going to inherit the earth if they're making the minimum payments on their credit cards. Sorry if I'm a little jittery with my camera shake here. I got a laptop literally on my lap. And I'm tethering to my iPhone because the Wi-Fi here sucks. Oh my goodness. Why bother? I mean, it's that bad. And I'm in the middle of the city. You'd think that they would, get some fiber going here or something. Anyway, so what's your default future? And do you abide that? In other words, do you suffer that? Do you tolerate that? Are those the problems which you're choosing? Ooh, that sounds like I just heard the R word in there somewhere. Responsibility. Responsibility. Okay. Well, if you know you can achieve the goals, even if you don't know how, I didn't say the how to was already done, but you believe enough in yourself that you can accomplish things. Okay, well, it's the same person who could accomplish the default future and be pathetic, right? So choose. I've been traveling as of late. You guys know I spent a week in Kauai, and we were eating the fish tacos, and then I'm here in Salt Lake City today, and we were eating some great gourmet food. We ate like slobs at what is cited to be the best Mexican restaurant in Utah yesterday. Slobs, like Jabba the Hutt, disgusting, right? And so we eat. My goodness, we eat. Do we exercise? So what I did today? I exercised, just using gravity and my Jeff Cavalier videos. You guys know Jeff Cavalier, Athlete X, 10 billion followers on YouTube or whatever. So I did my workout, and it was pathetic, right? I'm all heavy and slow. It's like, oh, John, consistency, right? So that's an indicator for me. What's the default future, right? You either maintain fitness, which is way easier than getting fit, by the way, right? If you're just getting into it, it's like, that's a lot of work. It's worth it. But maintaining it is better. So just me being inconsistent for a few weeks, pathetic. By my standards, okay? Default future, Jabba the Hutt. There you go, right? Could I do that? I suppose I could. Yeah. Choose. Pick your problems. My problem is that I put my body into a state of discomfort for a half hour this morning. Oh boy, I got over it, right? Problems I don't have. I actually fit into I'm wearing a suit right now. I don't get the tie and jacket on yet, but I fit into my suit pants. I was kind of nervous about that. I was like, oh crap. Oh, I might be doing the safety pin trick today. But no, it worked out. So that's good. All right, guys. We do have an intimate crowd here today. A bunch of us are actually here at the convention too. So I'm going to open it up. If you got a comment or question, and then I'm going to run to the meeting, which somebody's keeping a seat warm for me. So we got Allie and Daisy and Edward and Lindsay here with us. Lindsay, please.
I'm one of your favorite people, and I'm not there this year, but I'm not saying but. I will be there because the controlled imagination and a steady, concentrated attention works miracles.
Mm-hmm.
And I've jogged 6.3 miles today. That's why I look like this, because I'm frustrated that I'm not there. That's okay.
Well, you look like a doer, and so thanks for doing. Still, something like what we're doing here this week is not to be missed. Like period, and friggin' story, not to be missed.
I know.
So, unless you're physically debilitated, like the body can't travel or something, So, anyway, glad you're here on the call. I'm glad that I tuned in just for you, and Allie, hey Allie, and Daisy and Edward. Allie, you got some thoughts?
Hi, John. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I was just thinking how, when you were talking about that, about when you how important it is to know your principles and your the standards that you want to keep. And it's very easy. So I think it's something that I haven't necessarily thought about very much before the last couple of years. You're naturally built in with some potentially when you grow up. And I had a very Christian upbringing, so I kind of naturally had that. But it's really crucial to really know your own personal ones, not related necessarily to a religion, and they might be the same, but not to know that they're yours, and then that makes the standard of your living easier. You can make decisions easier because you know exactly where you're coming from, and if it all follows your principles. So yeah, that just was. I was just thinking of that when you were talking, how important that is.
Right, owning it. So it's one thing to say, I read such and such scripture, and I align with that. That's nice because I was born into it, maybe, or mom and dad said so, or something, or the authority figure, the priest, or whoever. It's another thing to own it and be like, in integrity with that. I mean, that's really what we're talking about. As within, so without. So no lip service, no part-time, no I'll try, for friggin' real, like this is who you are. Which, think of all the problems you don't have, right? You just mentioned making decisions quicker, right? Think of all the time you're not going to waste in a state of indecision, wondering, who am I? What's life about, right? I mean, fine. So wherever you got the datum, right, that this is a good, an ethical way to live, or whatever, your ideas that you've got about life or business or whatever you're applying it to, own it. In fact, Gautama Buddha said, don't believe this stuff just because it's written in traditions and whatever, your holy books, but go ahead and shake it out. And if it aligns with, reason and workability and benefits one and all, then live by it. Now it's yours, right? So, and I think those are the best teachers, right? And I don't know if you've read any, Buddhist scripture, but, you look at people like Buddha, Jesus, and major, like the most influential people in the history of the world. In that message, regardless of the source, was that you can too. Or like, yes, I am giving you these ideas, but they're for your use, right? In fact, Jesus said, you can do all these and even greater things. I don't think anybody believed them, maybe intellectually, right? But I mean, what's that path look like? I haven't arrived. So, but just knowing how powerful we actually are, if we get congruent, if we have integrity, the state of being whole, undivided and undiminished. It's no comparison. You got no competition, Allie. No competition. A person of integrity, like, you have no competition. Look at society. Unbelievable. So I would suggest that you get really clear about the fact that you are a goal achiever, that you can and will. And if you get a little bit lazy, just remember what the default future looks like. I suppose we can do that also with, with any goal, right? I mentioned fitness before. So here's the fitness magazine. Here's the ideal, shape, body, and whatever. That's nice. Okay. But how about what would be the contrast of that? Go look. I think either one will motivate you. I'm motivated by, here's the muscle guy, but, I'm in the supermarket or something and I'm like, holy crap, look at that guy, right? All right, put more salads in the cart. Get the salad. All right. I'll take mentoring wherever I'll find it. I don't discriminate on that. All right. Anybody else before I go to my next meeting?
Oh, thank you for doing this, John, and have a wonderful time where you are.
Thank you.
Go fill that seat.
All right. Thank you, Daisy, Edward. Glad you're here. Lindsay, Gail had to run. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow. Tune in with Adrian tonight, 4:30 p.m. Eastern U.S. time for our life and business tools. See you guys again real soon.